Hey guys, how's it going? And today I am bringing you a ranked game, but this isn't just any ranked game. This is the ranked game that got me to rank 1. Now, if you notice from a previous video, I'm not playing the Bismarck in ranked anymore. I actually switched to the Mikhail Kutuzov, and the main reason for that is the focus that the Bismarck was getting. I wasn't enjoying being set on fire by these Mikhail Kutuzovs or being torpedoed by destroyers so much that I couldn't participate in the battle or push objectives when I wanted to. So I switched to something that was a little bit more rapid fire and something that could bother the enemy team a bit more. So standard tactics when you pull out one of these ships is basically don't get shot. I have the new steering mod on this, and then I have, I think I have both rudder mods on this, so that I have a really short rudder shift time so that I can wiggle the ship around and avoid any incoming fire that comes my way. The Mikhail Kutuzov also has smoke, which makes it a really annoying ship when it comes to long range. Now what you'll see a lot of players do, and what you're seeing my destroyers do right now, is smoke the enemy team, or smoke the friendly team and then spot the enemy team. My destroyers have just created basically a wall of concealment in order to get our battleships and the cruisers closer to the fight without getting them shot to pieces by the enemy fleet. And this puts the enemy fleet at a major disadvantage because it's kind of that knowledge where the enemy team is, and we're also out trading damage with them. We are doing a lot more damage to them right now than they are us. Of course, if a destroyer slips around the side of A, like I do believe they just did, we're all gonna get spotted, which I just did. But this poor Bismarck that I'm shelling is just getting lit on fire over and over and over. I've already set 2 fires on him, done 9,000 damage just to this Bismarck, and I'm going to continue shelling him, hoping to set another fire. My Mikhail has, I think, a 15 or 16% fire chance, so it sets quite a few fires if I can land decent shots. And of course, as I say it, there's another one. And you'll see my team kind of said, let's go to this cap over this cap. And we're taking the B cap on this map because it's a little bit easier from this side to take that than the A cap, where you kind of get boxed in and focused down if you have to stop anywhere. There's also a lot more concealment for the ships on our team if we needed to use that, and I do believe we had more ships that could use the concealment than the enemy team did. So we're still continuing to shell the enemy battleships as their team left them basically completely in the dark. The smoke walls from my team are starting to dissipate, so I pop up my smoke generator in order to continue to keep me hidden, since I have such a good sight picture on the enemy fleet. Enemy destroyer, aka the prime target, anytime one pops up, this is what you should be shooting at in ranked, has popped up, so our whole team is absolutely emptying everything onto it and has forced him to pop his smoke cloud. So instead of that, I'm switching to the Atago, and I don't really get a good shot there. I get 2 that don't really do anything, and he's basically out of my vision at this point. But looks like that one of their battleships got separated, and that's not going to go over too well for him, since my smoke still has a lot of time left on it, and he's way out in the open. So I'm just going to start shelling him as my team kind of gets into position to defend our cap and try to take the lead, as we're down a couple of points because we didn't cap as fast as the enemy team. Now I just got spotted by radar, so I need to start moving in case that North Carolina gets any fancy ideas of shooting at me. And looks like those shells are coming my way because he is absolutely sick of getting lit on fire. None of these torpedoes are going to come anywhere close to me though, so that's always decent too. All the shells from the North Carolina are dodged, and he shouldn't have a damage control party. I do believe he just popped that. So we're going to continue shelling him to hope to start a couple more fires, maybe burn him down a bit more. And there, of course, there's 2 more. One of their Bismarcks also has come out to play, and I'm going to start shelling him too, just in case he gets any bright ideas of pushing. And there's a fire for him. Fires for everybody. That's what they get. Enemy Bismarck over there, looks like he's firing high explosive for some reason. Not quite sure why. Maybe it's because he's bow on to a friendly North Carolina. He sets me on fire, but that's alright. I'll just put that out. I set a fire on him as I turn back and start launching shells at the enemy North Carolina and Bismarck behind me. Take one shell from the Bismarck, didn't do a whole ton of damage. Start turning in to kind of get concealment behind this island, or at least block some of their shots as I lob shells over at them. You can see I'm up to 54,000 damage so far with 10 fires set, which is sure to go up as this battle continues. Ooh, their Chapayev is really low, but he's in a really decent spot to not take any damage, as he's hidden just barely behind that island, to the point where we can spot him somehow probably from the ships over behind B, but we can't really get shots into him. And I think I lob a few more at him just to see if I can nick him at all, but I'm definitely not going to be able to kill him. Enemy Fubuki way over there. Looks like he just got stuck on an island, which is unfortunate because our destroyer just spotted him. And I think both the Amagi, North Carolina, and I have shot at him, so he should be taking a little bit of damage from that. Those two battleships are still sitting there on that corner. Not entirely sure why they didn't back off at this point, because we are kind of pounding them. But I guess they haven't taken a lot of damage compared to, say, our Bismarck or the Fubuki. Hopefully they do eat a couple torpedoes here, which will pop their damage control parties and make it a lot easier for me to kill them. Oh, there's one on the North Carolina. It'll make it a lot easier for me to kill them, since they will be, you know, down on their health. Or not down on their health, they won't be able to put out my fires. And hopefully that will put them down on their health. But of course I'm firing at a North Carolina, so there's not really a lot of superstructure for me to fire at on the bow of that, and I'm not hitting a lot that does damage. Of course there's a fire on his main superstructure, which I do believe he can't put out now, as I just popped my smoke, and I'm kind of starting to sit here and bide my time waiting for somebody to spot something for me to shoot at. That Bismarck behind us is coming out though, so I'm going to lob a few shells that way to see if I could get a couple fires. And when you're in these ranked matches, you always have to pay attention to where the enemy ships are, in case you're being outflanked, in case one of them could get a nice shot on you that could end your game. It's just that situational awareness that you have to pay attention to, and it'll help you get a lot further in the game, and it'll help you get a little bit higher numbers as you go through. There's some more fires for that poor North Carolina. He's gonna be feeling the pain from all that fires, as I've now set 13 and my damage counter is still ticking, meaning he is still on fire. Not sure where I just set that one. Might have been the North Carolina, might have been that Bismarck behind me. But those two ships out there are not having a good day. It looks quite hot on those two ships. And especially since there's more torpedoes coming at them. And there's my high caliber, almost 10 minutes into the game. 94,000 damage so far. Firing on the Bismarck since he's the easiest target. And there's another fire for him, since I do believe he just put out my first one. Continue to lob shells at him. My smoke's just about up, so I'll get my ship moving again before I'm caught out with basically my pants down and sitting in one place. Continuing to shell the Bismarck. There's not really any other targets. My team's kind of holding them to the south. This guy, I'm not entirely sure if he thinks he's going to be able to push around the middle. It looks like he just put out my fire. And that Bismarck over there is not doing too well either. But one of their ships just got into A, so it's most likely a destroyer since it didn't get spotted all the way over there. But we do have to take care of this Bismarck if we have any chance of getting in there and defending that cap zone. Because neither I or the other cruiser feel like going broadside to this Bismarck and getting citadeled. But then again, he just went broadside to us in order to go bow onto that North Carolina and the friendly team. So I'm going to continue lobbing shells at his now very exposed superstructure, and there is their Fubuki. Hopefully one of these shells hit so I can reset the cap, because we definitely need the points. We are still down on points. They've lost a battleship, we have lost a destroyer. It doesn't look like I hit that destroyer. But that Bismarck, he's, you know, he's done for. Our team's focusing him down. He's burning, and he'll be going down pretty soon as I roll in a little bit more damage onto him, and our Fubuki finishes him off with a torpedo. Now this enemy Fubuki's hiding in our cap zone. We have an Atago on the side, and I'm charging up the south. And I'm gonna slow down here pretty soon because I don't really want to drive around this corner into a wall of torpedoes. I do have hydroacoustic search equipped on this instead of the usual defensive fire that you see on Mikhail Kutuzov's, because you don't see a lot of carriers in ranked, but there definitely are destroyers. And hydroacoustic search comes into play a lot when you're trying to hunt these little buggers down, especially when there's in smoke inside your cap zone. My Atago dropped some torpedoes into the cap zone to see if we could drive them out, and that's probably not a good thing. The enemy cruiser just decided to back around the side of that island, which gives me a shot on him, but he has spotted me, and that spots me for the destroyer that's probably still in our cap, so he could now get torpedoes on me if he wanted to. And of course the Atago has 203s, and those do quite a bit of damage to Kutuzov's, even if it's just high explosive. So I pop my smoke in order to kind of hide my advance into the cap zone and to cover the Atago that's behind me, as I continue to kind of pepper that Atago on the enemy team to try to get him to go away. Now it looks like the Fubuki just fired its guns at me, which means it feels pretty secure about its position. And since we're capping, it's definitely not inside the cap zone. So now I'm expecting torpedoes to come, so I start accelerating with my ship. I'm kind of pulling out of my smoke cloud. Looks like I decided to slow down, I'm sorry. And there's the destroyer. I just got spotted as I slipped out of the smoke cloud. I start accelerating in case he's launching torps on my stationary ship, and I start throwing shells downrange. There's 3,000 damage to him, and now he's not doing so hot. He now has to get away from 2 cruisers, and there is a battleship right behind us that I do believe is firing at him. And there's his shells. And I just set a fire on him. And I think he actually repaired his engine before, so that fire may continue to burn unless his damage control party actually lasted long enough to put that out, which since my damage isn't going up, I do believe it did. And our team's pushing into the alpha zone, and it's causing the enemy team to push backwards, which is not good for me because the enemy North Carolina, who is not happy with my fire setting ability, has rolled backwards around the corner and is now focusing my ship with all his guns. And like I said, not good news for me, as I get the Wither Award and set 2 fires on the North Carolina. But the rest of the enemy team is starting to follow him around the corner, so I have another Fubuki and an Atago to deal with. And the Atago just shot at me. The Fubuki isn't shooting at me, surprisingly, as I roll some shells into him, start another fire. My second salvo finishes him off as the first Fubuki pops up. Get my guns ready on him, lob some shots before he gets out of detection range. And he's trying to get behind, or I think he's trying to get behind this island so that I don't shoot at him anymore. Will these shots find their targets? Not quite enough damage. I need another roll like that in order to kill this destroyer. Barely squeeze the shots over the island. Destroy that poor little ship. My team is still pushing into the alpha point. We have taken the lead here. 138,000 damage so far. And this is about where I realize, hey, this is my rank 1 win. But I'm rolling around the corner. I want to get a bit more damage in. I know there's basically no way we can lose now unless, well, there goes that Bismarck as I say that. But unless this Atago just absolutely goes balls to the wall and somehow kills 2 battleships, a destroyer, and 2 cruisers, I don't think they're gonna, etch this one out. And I think this North Carolina is about to get charged down by the enemy team, but I'm coming around the corner to make sure that doesn't happen. I start to kind of pull up on the Atago. I'm trying to knock out his torpedoes so that he can't torpedo the poor North Carolina. Enemy North Carolina rolls its guns towards me. I kill him as his shots ring out, giving me the Arsonist Award. I think one of my fires finally killed him. My battleship kills the Atago before he can get any torpedoes off and wins me the game. So there would be my rank 1 game, showing you how I play the Kutuzov as a fire starter, which is just absolutely annoying to the enemy team and will absolutely wreck their battleships if they stay out in the open like that North Carolina and the Bismarck did. Obviously more than 60,000 damage in fires because I did get the Witherer award. And, you know, it's all about that vision sometimes. My team was covering, or my destroyers were covering our team with smoke, and a lot of times the enemy battleships couldn't see me because I was either behind an island or in smoke, and our destroyers were still spotting them, allowing me to just rain down fire on them. And the Mikhail Kutuzov is just amazing at that. So that was my rank 1 game, kind of showing how teams kind of play that at that tier. Or I don't want to say tier, I want to say at that bracket. As for the end screens, 5,000 experience, 700,000 credits earned, Witherer, Arsonist, and the High Caliber award earned all in that game, with 22 fires set, 3 ships destroyed, and 143,000 damage done over the course of that battle. And that was an absolutely awesome game with my Kutuzov, because sometimes I'd do that, and sometimes I would do like 32,000 on a win, or maybe a loss just because my team wouldn't get in a good position, or the enemy team would just basically outplay us. Going into the second end screen shows me at the top of the team. I'm not entirely sure why it only shows me getting a star, but I do believe that's just telling me that I got rank 1. 2,300 base experience earned with 3 ships sunk, with my Atago and my Amagi right below me with 1,600. They finished very close to each other, with the North Carolina not far behind, and then of course our destroyers and the Bismarck all getting above 1,000 base experience, so everybody chipped in on that victory. Enemy team, the North Carolina did actually pretty well, and so did their Fubuki, for both being kind of caught out in the early parts of the match, and that Fubuki being caught out around the cap. So decent jobs to those two for trying to carry their team. And finally, the damage screen. I did 142,986 damage total, with 76,000 of that only coming from the high explosive shells that I fired that battle. I didn't get a chance to use any armor piercing, as none of the battleships really got close enough or broadside enough, or cruisers I guess, got close or broadside enough for me to roll some armor piercing into their sides. But as you look down, 66,917 damage in just fires alone. That's from 22 fires set over the course of that whole battle on both battleships and destroyers alike. I don't think I set any cruisers on fire, but I'm sure I'll be wrong on that. I usually am. But that was just a monster rank 1 game for me, or the game that earned me rank 1. And I just had a lot of fun with that battle, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you guys enjoyed kind of seeing how it plays at that rank bracket. And have a nice day, good luck out there, and see ya.